All right, so today we're diving into DXN.
DXN.
And they're all about Ganoderma.
Yeah.
And they really want everyone to know that they are
huge.
The biggest.
Yeah, the top dog.
Yeah.
When it comes to Ganoderma.
Now, what we're looking at today is some marketing copy that's actually in Spanish.
Interesting.
So it gives us a unique perspective, I think, into how they're presenting themselves.
It does, yeah. It's kind of like we get a little behind-the-scenes peek at how they're tailoring their message to a specific audience.
Right. And so I'm kind of imagining somebody who's, looking for an opportunity maybe to improve their health or make some extra money.
Right.
And DXN saying like, hey,
we got you.
We're the answer.
Yep.
And so today we're going to try to unpack why they think they have the winning formula.
Yeah. Before we get into their strategy, though, I think it's worth talking about Ganoderma for a second.
Okay.
Like, why is this such a big deal for them?
Right.
They're shouting from the rooftops that they're the biggest player in the Ganoderma world.
They are.
What's the significance of that?
Well, Ganoderma, sometimes called reishi mushroom, it has a long history in traditional Asian medicine.
Right.
And it's thought to have all sorts of health benefits, like boosting your immune system or fighting inflammation.
Yeah, and DXN is really tapping into that growing interest in natural wellness products.
Yeah.
They're positioning themselves as like the ultimate source for Ganoderma.
The place to go.
It's interesting because they're not just selling a product, they're selling a whole lifestyle.
Right, and that kind of leads into one of their big statements, which is low price, high quality, low profile, high income. Catchy, right?
What's the strategy behind a tagline like that?
Like, what are they going for?
It's a clever use of contrast, I think.
Okay.
By highlighting low price and low profile, they're trying to seem accessible.
Down to earth.
Yeah, down to earth.
Yeah.
But then they hit you with the high quality and high income.
Yeah.
Appealing to those aspirations for a better life.
So they're drawing you in with affordability, but then dangling that promise of big rewards.
Yeah.
Is this a common tactic in this kind of business?
It is. You see it a lot in direct sales companies.
Okay.
They try to lower the barrier to entry and then emphasize the earning potential.
Okay.
Now, whether that approach actually works really depends on the individual and what they're looking for.
Right. Some people might be attracted to that low initial cost.
Yeah.
But others might be a little wary of that high income claim.
Exactly. And it's wise to be a bit skeptical.
Yeah.
These kinds of promises often have strings attached.
Right.
That low profile could also mean limited brand recognition or a crowded market.
Okay.
And that high income often depends on building a successful downline, which, let's face it, can be a real challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah, not everybody is cut out for that kind of network building.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about this one world, one market idea.
Okay.
One membership, global business.
Ambitious.
That sounds pretty ambitious.
It does.
Is this something unique to DXN?
While DXN definitely plays up this global aspect, the idea of a worldwide reach and a unified membership isn't entirely new in direct sales.
Okay.
Many companies in this space operate internationally.
I see.
Yeah.
So what does this one world, one market approach actually mean for someone who's thinking about joining DXN?
Well, on the one hand, it could mean a wider customer base and more networking opportunities.
Okay.
But on the other hand, it also means you're competing on a global scale.
Right.
It's not just about going up against other DXN members in your city or region. You're vying for customers and recruits worldwide.
That adds a whole other layer of complexity.
It does.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that stood out in their marketing is how much they emphasize owning their entire process.
Oh, yeah.
From cultivation to manufacturing to marketing.
From the farm to you.
From the farm to you, right?
Yeah.
Is this actually a good thing, or are there downsides to consider?
Well, on the surface, it sounds positive. Controlling the entire supply chain could mean better quality control.
Okay.
And potentially lower costs.
Which ties back into their high quality, low price message.
Exactly.
Okay.
But there's another side to this.
Okay.
When a company is vertically integrated, meaning they own every step of the process, it can sometimes limit their flexibility and ability to innovate.
Okay, so like if they're just totally focused on Ganoderma,
right,
they might miss out on opportunities to branch out with new products or adapt to changing market trends.
Exactly. It's like putting all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah, and wouldn't that also make it harder to be transparent?
That's a valid point. If there are ever issues with the product or the business model, it might be difficult to pinpoint where things went wrong when everything is handled internally.
Right.
There's no outside perspective or independent verification.
Okay.
So while owning the whole process might initially seem appealing, it's important to weigh the potential benefits against the possible downsides.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's talk about their win-win philosophy, especially when it comes to their reward structure. They really emphasize that as your downline grows, so do your rewards.
Right.
Is this truly a win-win situation, or is there more to the story?
Well, this structure is a hallmark of multi-level marketing, or MLM.
Okay.
The idea is that by recruiting new members and building a team, everyone benefits. However, the reality is that this often leads to a pyramid-like structure where those at the top, the early adopters and those with extensive networks, tend to benefit the most, while those at the bottom might struggle to even make back their initial investment.
So it's not always a fair playing field.
Unfortunately, not the win-win narrative can sometimes mask the inherent imbalance in these types of structures.
Okay.
You have to remember that success in an MLM often depends more on recruiting new people than on actually selling products.
And that brings up some ethical questions, right?
Absolutely. There are some red flags to watch out for.
Quite good.
Well, are you being pressured to recruit friends and family? Are you being encouraged to buy a lot of products to maintain a certain rank or qualify for bonuses? These are all things to think about before joining any MLM opportunity.
Good points. Now, the source material mentions worldwide recognition, but doesn't give any specifics.
Vague.
Yeah, very vague.
Classic marketing tactic.
Yeah. So how can somebody actually verify a claim like that?
Well, that's the key. Don't just take their word for it.
Right.
You got to do your own research.
Yeah.
Look for concrete evidence like award certifications or media coverage from reputable sources. Check out reviews from independent consumer groups or industry watchdogs.
Okay.
And be wary of testimonials that sound too good to be true or lack specifics.
Right. So it's all about doing your due diligence.
Yeah.
Not getting swept up in vague claims.
Exact.
All right. Now let's dive into some of the specific benefits that they highlight.
Okay.
They mention access to bonuses, profit sharing, and incentives. Are these standard perks in MLM structures? And how can someone realistically assess what's exaggerated versus what's attainable?
These are pretty common perks in MLMs.
Okay.
But the key is understanding the details.
So like, what are the requirements for those bonuses?
Yeah. Exactly how are profits actually shared? Are the incentives tied to product sales or recruitment efforts?
So you really need to dig into the fine print to get a clear picture.
Precisely. And remember, the potential for big earnings is often emphasized while the risks and challenges are downplayed.
Right. Another thing they highlight is global business opportunities
Yeah.
through their one world, one market philosophy.
Right.
We already touched on this a bit, but are there any other nuances to consider here?
One thing people often overlook is the logistics and regulations of running a business across multiple countries.
Oh, okay.
Different regions have different laws about direct selling, product registration, and taxes. You need to understand the legal and financial landscape of each market you're targeting.
So it's not as simple as just signing up and selling globally.
Not at all. There's a lot of groundwork involved to make sure you're operating legally and ethically in every market.
Yeah, they also mentioned discounted products as a membership benefit. Is that typical in MLM structures?
Yes. Offering members discounted products is a common practice.
Okay.
It encourages personal use and turns members into product advocates.
Right, so it's a way to create brand loyalty and generate those word-of-mouth sales.
Exactly. But you should always compare those discounted prices to similar products sold outside the MLM.
Right.
Are you really getting a good deal, or are you paying a premium for the brand name?
That's a really smart question to ask.
Yeah.
They also talk about travel opportunities as a perk.
Ooh.
Is that common in MLMs, and are there any catches?
Travel incentives are definitely a popular perk. They often involve trips to conferences, retreats, or exotic destinations.
It sounds pretty glamorous.
It does.
But what's the catch?
Well, those trips usually come with some pretty strict requirements. You typically have to reach certain sales targets or recruit a specific number of new members to qualify.
So it's not just a free vacation.
Right.
There's a lot of work involved.
Exactly. And you have to consider the true cost of those trips.
Okay.
Are you spending more on products and recruiting efforts to qualify than the trip is actually worth? Sometimes the costs outweigh the benefits.
That's a great point. Finally, they mention free training modules programs and 247 support as benefits. Are these offerings genuinely valuable, or is it just marketing hype?
Well, the quality and usefulness of training programs vary widely across MLMs.
Right.
Some companies invest in comprehensive training and mentorship programs that teach valuable business skills. Others may offer more superficial training focused primarily on product knowledge and recruitment tactics.
So how can you tell the difference?
I would say look beyond the marketing hype and evaluate the substance of the training.
Okay.
What topics are covered? Who are the trainers? Are there opportunities for ongoing support and mentorship? These are all important factors to consider.
And what about that 2047 support claim? Is that usually realistic?
Again, it depends on the company.
Okay.
Some have great support systems that help with everything from product info to technical issues to business strategy. Others have much more limited support options.
So it sounds like it's always best to test the waters and see how responsive they are to your questions and needs.
Absolutely. Now, the marketing material also outlines steps for growing your DXN business.
Okay.
Do these steps genuinely focus on personal development and building business skills, or are they primarily geared towards recruitment?
It looks like the first step they mention is buying the starter kit.
Okay.
What's usually included in those, and is it a necessary investment?
Starter kits can vary in content and price.
Okay.
But they typically include a selection of products, marketing materials, and access to online resources.
Okay.
Whether it's a necessary investment really depends on your level of commitment and the company's policies. Some companies require a starter kit purchase to become a member, while others offer more flexible options.
So it's important to understand the requirements and to carefully consider the value of the starter kit before buying anything.
Absolutely. Now, the next step they emphasize is building a downline.
Okay.
This is where the focus on recruitment becomes quite apparent.
Yeah.
Are there any potential pitfalls with this approach?
Well, I mean, we've already talked about how that emphasis on recruitment can create a pyramid-like structure
Right.
where your success is heavily dependent on building a large team. And that can lead to pressure to recruit friends and family, which can put a strain on personal relationships.
Yeah.
And it can also create a situation where the focus is on recruitment over product sales, which is ultimately unsustainable.
Right.
So it's important to proceed with caution and watch out for any pressure to recruit aggressively.
Exactly. Now, DXN also suggests attending seminars and leadership camps to learn and network with other members.
Okay.
Do you think these events can be beneficial?
I think these events can definitely be valuable for building relationships and learning from those with more experience. However, it's important to be aware of the potential for hype and emotional appeals at these events.
Right.
Don't let the excitement of the crowd sway your judgment.
That's a great point. You always need to keep a critical mindset and evaluate the information you're getting objectively.
They also mention understanding DXN products in the marketing plan.
Okay.
This seems like a pretty reasonable expectation, right?
Absolutely. It's essential to have a thorough understanding of the products you're selling and how the company's compensation structure works. But it's also crucial to look beyond the company's materials and do your own research.
Okay.
Compare the products to similar offerings on the market and analyze the compensation plan to see how much you can realistically earn and what it takes to reach different levels.
So knowledge is power, and doing your own research is absolutely essential.
Precisely. Now, DXN also encourages using marketing tools like photos, videos, and online platforms to promote the business. Is this something you see often in MLMs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Many MLMs provide members with marketing materials and encourage them to use social media and other online platforms to reach a wider audience. These tools can be helpful, but it's important to use them ethically and responsibly.
Right.
Avoid making exaggerated claims or spamming your network with promotional content.
So it's about finding that balance between promoting your business and staying authentic.
Exactly. DXN also highlights the importance of maintaining something called personal purchase volume, or PV.
Okay, PV. What is that?
Many MLMs have PV requirements for members to qualify for commissions and bonuses.
Okay.
This means members need to consistently buy a certain amount of product each month to stay active and eligible for those rewards.
So there's an ongoing financial commitment involved.
Yes, and it's something to consider carefully.
Okay.
Are you comfortable with the level of personal consumption required to maintain your status in the company? Are you buying products primarily for personal use, or are you stockpiling inventory to meet PV requirements? That's a really important question to ask yourself. Absolutely. Now, they also talk about the need to track sales, new members' purchases, and rank. Is this common in MLMs?
Yeah.
Yes. Many MLMs give members tools and resources to track their progress and monitor their business performance.
Okay.
This can be helpful for setting goals and measuring success.
But we have to remember that those metrics are often tied to recruitment efforts and sales volume, which can create a lot of pressure to perform and potentially lead to unsustainable practices.
Exactly. It's essential to keep things in perspective and focus on building a sustainable business, not just chasing those short-term gains.
DXN also encourages leveraging digital and social media marketing.
Right.
What are some of the best practices for using those platforms effectively and ethically?
When using digital and social media marketing, transparency is key.
Okay.
You need to be upfront about your affiliation with DXN. Disclose that you're a member and that you may earn commissions from sales. Focus on providing valuable content that educates and informs your audience, and avoid making exaggerated claims or spamming your network with promotional posts.
So it's all about authenticity and transparency.
Absolutely. They also suggest exploring alternative marketing approaches such as kiosks and regular meetings. What are your thoughts on those methods?
I think those approaches can be effective for reaching a wider audience and building personal connections.
Yeah.
However, it's essential to make sure these events are conducted ethically and professionally.
Right.
Avoid high-pressure sales tactics and always respect people's boundaries.
That's great advice. Building trust and rapport with potential customers should always be the priority.
Another step they highlight is continuous learning through books, magazines, and websites. This seems like a positive recommendation.
Continuous learning is definitely important for personal and professional growth.
Okay.
However, it's crucial to be selective about your sources of information.
Right.
Be wary of materials that promote a get-rich-quick mentality or rely on hype and emotional appeals.
Or seek out credible sources that provide balanced and objective information.
So it's all about being a critical consumer of information.
Exactly. Now, DXN also emphasizes the importance of teamwork and supporting downline growth.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this? Teamwork and support are essential for success in any business. However, it's important to make sure that this support is genuine and not just about driving recruitment.
Right, so it's about helping others succeed.
Yeah.
Not just using them to climb the ladder yourself.
That's a key distinction.
Now, the marketing copy ends with a call to action.
Okay.
Become a DXN member with no registration fee, just a yearly personal purchase requirement.
Okay.
Is this a common practice, and what are the hidden costs or commitments involved?
Well, while there may not be an upfront registration fee, that yearly personal purchase requirement is essentially a recurring membership fee.
Right.
You have to factor this ongoing cost into your decision. Additionally, there might be other hidden costs like training materials, marketing expenses, and travel costs for attending events.
So it's essential to understand the full financial commitment before joining.
Absolutely. And don't forget the time commitment.
Right.
Building a successful MLM business takes a lot of time and effort, especially in the early stages.
It's not a passive income stream.
Right.
It requires active participation and dedication.
Exactly. Welcome back to our deep dive into DXN.
So we spent some time unpacking their marketing and what they're promising potential members.
Yeah.
But now it's time to see what else we can find out.
Yeah, we got to gather some more evidence, see how it all lines up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's start with a source we know is pretty reliable.
Okay.
What about the Better Business Bureau?
The BBB is a great place to start. They provide ratings and reviews of businesses based on things like transparency, customer service, and how they handle complaints.
Yeah, checking the BBB is always a smart move when you're researching a company,
Definitely a good first step.
especially if you're thinking about doing business with them.
Especially then.
So what did you find?
Well, it looks like DXN doesn't currently have an official BBB rating.
Really?
Yeah, this could be because they haven't sought accreditation or haven't been in business long enough to establish a rating.
That's interesting. I mean, it's not necessarily a red flag,
Right.
but it's something to keep in mind as we continue our investigation.
It definitely warrants further exploration.
Yeah. Okay, so for a more in-depth perspective on MLM companies,
Okay.
what about a website called Behind MLM?
Behind MLM, they specialize in investigating and reporting on multi-level marketing companies.
I'm guessing they have some pretty strong opinions about this industry.
They do. They've published a number of articles about DXN, and their analysis is pretty critical.
Okay, so what do they say?
They actually label DXN as a product-based pyramid scheme.
Okay, well, hold on. What does that even mean?
Basically, it means that the company's primary focus is on recruitment rather than actual product sales. Members are encouraged often with the promise of big commissions to recruit new members and build large downlines, earning money based on the recruiting efforts of their team.
So the emphasis is on building that pyramid-shaped structure where those at the top are profiting from the work of those below them.
Exactly. And the product-based aspect just means that DXN does sell tangible products, but the quality and market demand for those products are often questioned.
So the products might be more of a way to cover up the pyramid scheme structure.
That's the argument behind MLM is making. They suggest that the real money in DXN is made through recruitment, not through selling products to actual customers.
That's a pretty serious accusation.
It is.
What evidence do they have to back that up?
Well, they analyzed DXN's compensation plan and found that a majority of the potential earnings come from recruitment bonuses and downline commissions.
So the more people you recruit, the more money you make, even if you're not selling a lot of product.
Right. And they also highlight numerous complaints from former DXN members who say they felt pressured to recruit heavily and struggled to make money from selling the products themselves.
Yikes. That's definitely something to be concerned about.
It's a red flag for sure. Now, it's important to acknowledge that behind MLM is known for taking a critical stance toward MLMs,
Right.
and their language can be pretty strong at times.
So we should definitely take their findings with a grain of salt,
Right.
but we also can't ignore the concerns they're raising.
Exactly. It's all about considering multiple perspectives
Yeah.
and doing your own research before forming a solid opinion.
All right, so now let's hear from some everyday people.
Okay.
What about Reddit?
Reddit.
I know there are a lot of people who talk about MLMs on there.
Oh, yeah. Reddit can be a great resource for firsthand experiences. People share all kinds of things on there, both positive and negative.
So what's the Reddit community saying about DXN?
Well, it seems like the sentiment is pretty mixed.
Okay.
Some users praise DXN's products, especially their Ganoderma coffee, and share positive experiences with the company.
So there are definitely people out there who genuinely like the products
Yeah,
and have found value in the DXN opportunity.
definitely. But there are also a lot of skeptical voices.
Okay.
Some users express concerns about the MLM structure and question the sustainability of the business model.
So they're basically echoing those same points raised by behind MLM,
Right.
questioning the emphasis on recruitment and the potential for financial loss.
Exactly. And some users share personal stories of feeling pressured to recruit friends and family or having difficulty making those sales.
So it seems like the Reddit community reflects the broader debate surrounding DXN.
I think that's a good way to put it. There's a mix of positive and negative experiences, with some people finding success while others are much more cautious.
All right, so let's check out some online review platforms.
Okay.
Like Trustpilot and SiteJabber,
Yeah, those sites can give us a broader view of customer satisfaction and product quality.
and maybe even business practices too.
Exactly. So what are the reviews saying?
Yeah, what are people saying?
On Trustpilot, DXN has a mix of positive and negative reviews. Some customers rave about the products, saying they're high quality and effective.
So again, we're seeing that theme of people genuinely liking the products.
Yep. But there are also negative reviews from customers who are unhappy with customer service, shipping issues, or problems canceling their memberships.
So it sounds like there might be some inconsistencies in their customer service.
It's definitely a possibility. And over on SiteJabber, we're seeing a similar pattern. Some positive reviews emphasize the health benefits of the products and the potential for financial gains.
But I'm guessing there are also negative reviews expressing concerns about the MLM structure and potential ethical issues.
Exactly. The online reviews seem to mirror the mixed sentiment we've observed on other platforms.
So it's clear that DXN is a polarizing company. Some people are passionate about their products and business model, while others have serious reservations.
That's a great summary, and it reinforces the importance of doing thorough research and thinking critically before making any decisions about joining DXN or any other MLM.
Yeah, we've definitely covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive.
We have.
We've explored DXN's marketing, analyzed their business model, and investigated their reputation through a variety of external resources.
We've uncovered both positive and negative aspects, which shows just how complex and nuanced this company really is.
Now it's time to synthesize all of this information and see what conclusions we can draw.
Yeah, in the final part of our deep dive, we'll discuss the key takeaways from our investigation and give you some essential questions to consider if you're thinking about joining DXN.
Right, so welcome back to the final part of our deep dive on DXN.
We've gone through their marketing, their business model, we've looked at their reputation.
We've seen the good, the bad,
Yeah,
the glowing reviews, and the skeptical concerns.
it's time to put it all together.
It is. What is the verdict? Is DXN a legitimate opportunity, or is it a bit of a risky gamble?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And like a lot of things in life, it's not a simple yes or no answer.
Of course not.
There are nuances to consider, there's complexity, there are individual circumstances to think about.
We've certainly seen that there's a lot to weigh.
On the one hand, DXN does have some appeal. They have a global presence. They've got a range of products. They have a community of people who are really enthusiastic about the brand.
Yeah, and we've seen that some people genuinely like using Ganoderma products and have found success through the DXN business model.
Absolutely, they have.
But then again, we can't ignore the concerns about that MLM structure,
Right.
the emphasis on recruiting new members and the potential for financial loss.
Yeah, we've seen some evidence of maybe some questionable marketing tactics, pressure to recruit, and a lack of transparency in certain parts of the business.
Exactly. So it seems like there's a balance of potential rewards, but also inherent risks.
Yeah, a bit of both.
So what would you say is the main takeaway for our listeners today?
I think the most important thing is knowledge is power. The more you understand about DXN, the better decisions you'll be able to make for yourself.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hype and the promises.
Yeah.
But it's so important to look at these opportunities with a critical eye.
Absolutely. Don't get swept away by those promises of easy money or quick riches.
Building a business takes work.
Yeah, it does.
It takes time and effort and commitment, whether it's DXN or any other company out there.
For sure. Another key point is to really scrutinize that compensation plan.
Yeah, understand where the money's coming from, not just the potential upside.
Exactly. What are the risks involved? Are there expenses you haven't thought about? How realistic are those big earnings they're promising?
Good point. And be wary of any pressure to recruit your friends and family.
Absolutely. A legitimate business opportunity shouldn't rely on you bringing in your loved ones.
It should stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah, and I think it's also crucial to consider the ethics of this business model.
Yeah, are you comfortable with the focus on recruitment and the possibility that other people might lose money because of your involvement?
It's a big question, but an important one to think about.
And I think at the end of the day, you've got to trust your gut.
Yeah.
If something feels off or too good to be true, it probably is.
Go with your intuition.
So to wrap up today, let's leave our listeners with this thought. If DXN is truly all about health and wealth,
Okay.
what evidence would convince you to sign up?
What would you need to see or hear or experience to really feel like this is the right opportunity for you?
We hope our deep dive today is giving you a clearer picture of DXN and that you'll continue to explore and ask those questions.
Remember, knowledge is power, and informed decisions are always the best decisions.
That's it for this deep dive. Thank you for joining us.